Hi, I'm Carl Azus. Hope you guys had a great weekend, that you're ready to get a new week started with CNN Student News. First up, parts of Cuba are recovering after being pounded by severe weather over the weekend. By Sunday morning, Paloma was a tropical storm, one that the National Hurricane Center expected to slow down as it moved toward the Bahamas. But on Saturday night, Paloma slammed into Cuba as a powerful Category 4 hurricane. Experts warn that the storm could cause flash floods and mudslides on the island nation. Morgan Neal filed this report as Paloma made landfall.
The storm made landfall in a town on the southern central coast called Santa Cruz del Sur, where we've heard reports of flooding, storm surge, some waves crashing as high as 3 meters into the air. Nevertheless, authorities were prepared for this. They evacuated, according to the government, more than 13,000 people in that little town. Now here in Camagüey, where I'm standing, government says nearly 100,000 people were evacuated. The vast majority of those, what they call self-evacuees, that is people who made their way to the homes of neighbors or family members who live in concrete, solid structures, places where they don't have to worry about the roofs being blown off their homes. Now, in preparation for this hurricane, Cuban authorities not only evacuated thousands of people, they also took steps to safeguard material resources. Why is that important? Because in the space of just over 2 months, Cuba has seen 3 major hurricanes, and particularly Hurricane Ike did massive damage to Cuban agriculture. And so they are trying their best to protect what crops they have been able to raise in the meantime from the damages of Hurricane Paloma. Now, here in the central city of Camagüey, the lights are out throughout the town. We've taken a brief look at the streets, everyone inside their homes, trying to stay safe from this storm. But just how damaging has Hurricane Paloma been? We'll have to wait for the sun to come up to get a real good look at the damages. Morgan Neal, CNN, Camagüey, Cuba.
Moving east from Cuba to Haiti now, where officials are investigating a deadly school collapse. At least 84 people were killed when the building caved in on Friday morning. At least 150 others were wounded. Haiti's president said that the structure of the 3-story school was really weak. The school's owner turned himself into authorities. He's been questioned but not charged. From the Caribbean Sea to the Sea of Japan, where an accident aboard a Russian nuclear submarine has left 20 people dead. Russian Navy officials say toxic Freon gas was released during a test run on Saturday by an accidental launch of the fire extinguishing system. 21 other people were wounded in the incident, but the sub's nuclear reactor was not damaged.
Is this legit? George Washington was the first U.S. president to live in the White House. Close, but not legit. The White House was being built while Washington was president. John Adams, the country's second president, was the first to live there.
Every president since then has made the White House his home. Today, the current residents, President George W. Bush and First Lady Laura Bush, are hosting the next ones, President-elect Barack Obama and future First Lady Michelle Obama. But there's a lot more on the agenda than the grand tour. Elaine Quijano gives us a preview of today's meeting.
Democrat Barack Obama and Republican George Bush will come together Monday for the start of a time-honored tradition of American democracy, the transfer of presidential power. This year, it is steeped in history. The first transition post 9/11, the first African-American president-elect.
It'll be a stirring sight to watch President Obama, his wife Michelle, and their beautiful girls step through the doors of the White House. I know millions of Americans will be overcome with pride at this inspiring moment that so many have waited so long.
Just as George Bush did with Bill Clinton in December of 2000.
I am humbled and honored, and I can't thank the President enough for his hospitality. He didn't need to do this.
The incoming president will have a chance to seek advice from his predecessor.
Get a good team and do what he thinks is right.
This time, as President Bush sits down with President-elect Obama in the Oval Office, the two will have a full agenda.
We face economic challenges that will not pause to let a new president settle in. We're in a struggle against violent extremists determined to attack us. And they would like nothing more than to exploit this period of change to harm the American people.
The two leaders will also have the delicate task of balancing decision-making and consultation in the coming weeks as President-elect Obama's views come into sharper focus.
And it's more complicated this time than ever before because we have an economic crisis on our hands, and he may be called upon to make decisions about priorities and about policies during the transition.
Monday's meeting will also allow the current and future First Ladies to meet. As their spouses confer in the Oval Office, Laura Bush and Michelle Obama will tour the private residence, a chance for Mrs. Obama to get a closer look at the place that will become home for the Obama family. Elaine Quijano, CNN, the White House.
Time for some fast facts. The Holocaust took place during World War II. It was a time when German Nazis systematically killed 6 million Jews as well as 5 million others, including communists, homosexuals, and gypsies. Nazi leader Adolf Hitler characterized Jews as an evil race that wanted to take over the world, and he killed millions of them in concentration camps. The most infamous of these was Auschwitz, a camp in German-occupied Poland. As many as 1.5 million people were killed in Auschwitz.
The riots that many say were the first steps in the Holocaust took place on November 9th, 70 years ago. And on yesterday's anniversary, Germany's leader said we must not be silent about rejecting anti-Semitism or discrimination against Jews. As that nation paused to remember one of history's dark nights, Fred Pleitgen spoke to a woman who survived it.
It was the night everything changed for Jews in Germany, November 9th, 1938. Inge Lammel was 14 years old.
Suddenly we were wakened and told to grasp our handbags, leave all other things behind, and flee out of the house before the Nazis came to damage the house.
It was the first major show of organized violence against Jews in Nazi Germany. 93 were killed, hundreds of synagogues destroyed by Nazi stormtroopers, thousands of Jewish businesses ransacked.
And lots of glass was destroyed, and it all lay on the roads, on the streets. You can see that going through the streets.
Because of the shards of broken glass laying in front of synagogues like this one in central Berlin, the Nazis called November 9th, 1938 Kristallnacht, Crystal Night, or the Night of Broken Glass. Historians say it was the first time Hitler showed his true face, a prelude to his attempt to exterminate the Jews in Europe, the Holocaust.
For all Jews living in Germany, it was very clear that future life in Germany had become absolutely impossible. It was very, very clear that there would be increasing violence towards the Jewish population.
Many Jews decided to flee Germany after Kristallnacht. Inge Lammel was one of them. Her travel chest was displayed at the Jewish Museum in Berlin. She and her sister made it to England. Her parents were not so lucky.
In 1943, they were arrested by the Gestapo and brought to Auschwitz. And then were murdered in Auschwitz, both of them. Yeah.
Inge Lammel says she returned to Germany after the war to help fight anti-Semitism there. She says even 70 years after Kristallnacht, with right-wing groups still operating in Germany, that fight is as important as ever. Fred Pleitgen, CNN, Berlin.
World War II would follow Kristallnacht. Veterans Day honors the American troops who served in that war and all men and women who have served in the U.S. Armed Forces. We're going to have a report on the history of Veterans Day on this show tomorrow. You can find a one-sheet on the event right now at cnnstudentnews.com. And finally today, there's a saying you probably heard. It's that everything's bigger in Texas. Well, don't tell this guy. This very minor drum major is getting down in front of thousands of fans. His dancing display started out in the stands during football games. But when one of the full-size drum majors spotted the smaller version mimicking his moves, he invited the 5-year-old onto the field to perform with the band. Shyness, obviously, not a concern. Well, that's where the music stops for now. We're going to hit the dance floor again tomorrow for more CNN Student News. You guys have a great day.